Hey everyone, and welcome to a deep dive. It's going to take us way back.
Okay.
We're talking ancient India,
All right.
philosophical riddles,
Yeah.
and some seriously mind-bending concepts.
I'm ready.
Are you ready to explore the Upanishads?
Let's do it.
All right.
These aren't your typical dry philosophical texts.
Oh, really?
No, think dialogue, stories,
Okay.
and poetry all woven together
Interesting.
to explore the big questions: reality, the
Yeah.
self, the universe, the whole cosmic shebang.
So it's like philosophy meets poetry slam,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
We're talking about texts
right.
that are thousands of years old, but still surprisingly relevant today.
Absolutely.
I mean, how is that possible?
Well, what's fascinating is
Yeah.
how the Upanishads use metaphors and symbolism
Okay.
to point towards truths that can't always be put into words.
So are we going to need a secret decoder ring for this?
Uh,
Because I left mine at home.
no, don't worry. We'll be your guides.
Okay.
We'll break down these complex ideas. And trust me, you'll find some surprising aha moments
Okay.
that might just change the way you see the world.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Let's start unpacking this ancient wisdom.
Yep.
Where do we even begin?
Well, at the heart of the Upanishads
Yeah.
is this mind-blowing concept
Okay.
called Brahman.
Brahman. Sounds kind of intimidating. Is this like a super-powered deity?
Not quite.
Okay.
Think of it more as the ultimate reality, the source of everything.
Oh, wow.
But it's not a personal god,
Right.
like you might find in other religions. It's
Yeah,
more like,
sure.
imagine staring up at the night sky and feeling that sense of awe,
Okay.
the vastness of it all,
Yeah.
that feeling of being connected to something much bigger than yourself.
I get that.
That's getting closer to the idea of Brahman.
So it's more like the energy, the essence behind everything we see and experience.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The Upanishads actually describe Brahman as neti neti.
Nitty.
Not this, not this.
What?
It's almost impossible to define directly. It's more about what it isn't than what it is.
Okay, that's a little trippy.
Yeah.
How are we supposed to wrap our heads around something that's beyond description?
Think of it this way.
Okay.
It forces us to look beyond the surface of things,
Okay.
beyond our everyday perceptions.
All right.
It's an invitation to explore that deeper, unifying principle
Okay.
that connects everything in the universe.
Okay, I'm starting to get it. So we've got this ultimate reality, Brahman.
Right.
But where do we fit into all of this?
There-
Enter Atman, right?
You got it. Atman is the individual self,
Okay.
the soul, that spark of consciousness within each of us.
So like our own personal inner light.
Kinda, but here's where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
The Upanishads tell us that Atman isn't separate from Brahman. It's actually a part of it.
Really?
It's like each of us carries a tiny piece
Wow.
of that cosmic puzzle within us.
Wait, so you're saying that we're all connected to this ultimate reality?
Right.
That we're essentially one with everything?
That's the mind-blowing truth the Upanishads point to.
Wow.
And this realization, this
Yeah,
understanding of oneness,
Mhm.
is actually the key to liberation, what they call moksha.
Okay, hold on. If we're all part of this grand unified reality,
Yeah.
why do we feel so separate?
Right.
Why all the conflict, the struggles, the feeling of being
I think-
alone in the universe?
That's where the concept of Maya comes in.
Maya.
Think of it as the ultimate cosmic illusion.
Maya, like abracadabra, and things disappear.
Not quite magic,
Okay,
but it does create a kind of smoke and mirrors effect.
interesting.
Maya is the veil that obscures our true perception.
So it's like we're looking at the world through a distorted lens,
Exactly.
and it keeps us from seeing the bigger picture.
Exactly. Maya tricks us into believing that we're separate individuals,
Wow.
disconnected from everything else.
Mhm.
It creates the illusion of duality, self, and other
Okay,
good and bad, pleasure and pain,
yeah.
when in reality, it's all part of the same interconnected web.
Whoa, so it's like we're living in the Matrix,
Yeah.
and recognizing Maya is like taking the red pill. You start
Yeah.
seeing the code,
Mm,
the interconnectedness behind everything.
that's a great analogy.
Thanks.
Seeing through Maya allows us to move beyond those superficial differences
Okay.
that divide us.
Yeah.
We begin to grasp the underlying unity of all beings. It's a shift in perception
Right?
that can have a profound impact on how we experience the world and interact with others.
This is already blowing my mind. So if we're caught in this illusion of separation, how do we navigate the world?
Right.
How do we make choices knowing that everything is interconnected?
That's where karma and samsara come into play.
Okay, here we go, karma.
Yeah.
Is this like cosmic payback for all those times I hit the snooze button? Because I've racked up some serious karmic debt.
It's not quite about punishment and reward,
Okay.
you might think.
Right.
The Upanishads see karma as more of a natural law, like gravity,
Oh.
but applied to our actions and their consequences. Think of it this way.
Yeah.
Every action, even every thought and intention,
Wow.
sends ripples out into the universe.
Okay.
These ripples shape not just this life, but imagine the next one, too.
Wait, so you're saying that our actions have consequences?
Yes.
That extend beyond this lifetime?
That's the idea behind samsara, the continuous cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. It's like this grand cosmic dance of beginnings and endings, all interconnected through the law of karma.
So we're all connected, caught in this cosmic dance, and our actions have consequences that ripple through time.
Precisely. The Upanishads are inviting us to consider the long-term impact of our choices. They're encouraging us to live with greater awareness, understanding that every action, every thought contributes to the bigger picture.
This is a lot to process.
Yeah.
I feel like we've only just scratched the surface here.
We've definitely covered a lot of ground. But don't worry, we'll unpack all of this in more detail in our next segment.
I'm ready for round 2. Bring on the ancient wisdom.
All right. Welcome back, deep divers. I hope you've all had a chance to ponder those mind-bending concepts we explored in part 1.
Yeah, Brahmanet Maya.
Because we're about to take these ideas to the next level. We've laid the groundwork.
Right.
But now let's get practical.
Okay.
How do we actually apply these ancient teachings to our modern lives?
I mean, that's a great question.
That's the beauty of the Upanishads. They're not just philosophical theories. They offer real-world insights that can help us navigate the complexities of life.
So let's start with Brahman.
Okay.
This ultimate reality, this cosmic energy. It's one thing to grasp it intellectually.
Yeah.
But can we actually experience it?
The Upanishads suggest that experiencing Brahman isn't about looking outward. It's about turning inward. It's about recognizing that spark of the divine within ourselves. That Atman that's essentially one with Brahman.
So it's not about climbing Mount Everest or searching for some hidden temple.
No.
It's about looking within.
Exactly. And this is where practices like meditation and yoga come in.
Oh, okay.
They can help us quiet the mind.
Right.
Still the constant chatter of thoughts and desires.
Yeah.
And connect with that deeper sense of self.
Okay.
That inner stillness that's a reflection of Brahman.
So it's like clearing away all the mental clutter so we can see more clearly what's always been there.
You got it. And this isn't some mystical practice reserved for yogis in caves. Anyone can cultivate this inner stillness, this connection to Brahman, through mindfulness meditation or even just spending time in nature. Really being present in the moment.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But what about Maya? That cosmic illusion that keeps us trapped in a world of separation.
Right.
How do we deal with Maya in our daily lives? It feels like it's everywhere we look.
The first step is simply being aware of it. Once you understand that Maya is at play, that your perceptions are being filtered through this veil of illusion, you start to see things differently.
It's like suddenly realizing you've been wearing those goofy 3D glasses at a movie that doesn't even need them. Everything snaps into focus.
Exactly. You begin to question your assumptions, your judgments, your beliefs.
All right.
You see beyond those superficial differences that divide us, and you start to recognize the interconnectedness of all things.
So instead of getting caught up in all those dramas and conflicts, we can start to see the bigger picture, the underlying unity that connects us all.
That's the idea. Now, this doesn't mean that Maya suddenly vanishes.
Okay.
But being aware of it gives you a certain freedom.
Yeah.
You're less likely to be swept away by those illusions, less likely to be controlled by your ego and its constant desires.
It's like you become aware of the game, so you can start playing it more skillfully, making more conscious choices.
I like that analogy.
Thanks.
And speaking of choices, how does karma fit into all of this?
Well, if we're constantly creating karma with every action, thought, and intention, doesn't that feel kind of overwhelming, like we're walking on eggshells, afraid to make a wrong move?
I understand how it can feel that way, but the Upanishads don't present karma as something to be feared.
Okay.
It's not about some cosmic punishment system.
So it's not like we're racking up points for good deeds and bad deeds.
No, it's much more nuanced than that.
Okay.
The Upanishads see karma as a natural law, like gravity.
Right.
It's simply the principle of cause and effect playing out in our lives.
So every action has a consequence, and those consequences shape our experiences.
Yes.
But those consequences aren't necessarily punishments or rewards, right?
Right. It's more about understanding that our actions create ripples
Okay.
that affect not just ourselves, but the world around us. And those ripples can manifest in this life or in future lives.
Oh, wow.
Which brings us back to samsara, the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth.
So if we're creating karma all the time, how do we ever break free from this cycle?
Right.
How do we achieve moksha, that liberation the Upanishads talk about?
That's where the real work begins.
Okay.
The Upanishads offer various paths to moksha,
Well,
but they all involve a process of self-transformation, refining our actions, our thoughts, and ultimately realizing our true nature as Atman, one with Brahman.
It sounds like a pretty intense journey. So it's not about becoming perfect or doing everything right. It's more about aligning ourselves with that deeper truth, that underlying unity.
It's about cultivating qualities like compassion, non-attachment, understanding. It's about seeing through the illusions of Maya and acting with awareness and intention.
And in doing so, we can start to loosen the grip of karma and samsara.
Exactly. Now remember that moksha isn't some kind of escape from reality or a one-way ticket to a blissful afterlife. It's a state of profound peace and liberation that can be experienced right here, right now.
So it's not about waiting for something to happen after death.
No.
It's about transforming our experience in this life.
Precisely. The Upanishads teach that true liberation is a state of being, not a destination. It's about recognizing that you're already one with Brahman. That spark of the divine is already within you.
This is starting to sound a little mystical. Like, are we talking about levitating and reading minds here?
Well, the Upanishads are deeply mystical texts, but they're not about supernatural powers. They're about experiencing a different way of being in the world, a way that's more connected, more compassionate, and ultimately more joyful.
So it's less about escaping the world and more about seeing it with new eyes, with a deeper understanding of our place within it.
That's a great way to put it. Remember, all of these concepts are interconnected. Brahman is the ground of being the source of everything. Atman is our individual spark of that divine source. Maya is the illusion that keeps us from recognizing our true nature. And karma and samsara are the forces that keep us bound to this cycle of birth and death.
And moksha is the ultimate goal, the liberation from that cycle, through realizing our oneness with Brahman. It's like this grand, cosmic puzzle, and each concept is a piece that helps us understand the bigger picture.
Exactly. And the Upanishads offer us a map, a guide for navigating this journey, for moving from a state of ignorance and delusion to a state of wisdom and liberation.
This is definitely giving me a whole new perspective on life, the universe, and everything.
That's what the Upanishads are all about, expanding our awareness, challenging our assumptions, and inviting us to see the world in a completely different light.
So we've explored these profound concepts and even talk about how we can start applying them to our lives. But one question remains. How do we make these ancient teachings truly relevant in today's world? A world that can seem so far removed from the spiritual concerns of the Upanishads.
That's a great question, and it's exactly what we'll be exploring in our final segment. Stay tuned as we bridge the gap between these ancient wisdom traditions and the challenges and opportunities of the 21st century.
Welcome back, deep divers.
We're
in the final stretch of our exploration into the Upanishads.
And
I'm feeling like we've been on quite a philosophical journey.
We have. It's been great.
Yeah, it has.
We've gone deep into these ancient texts, explored their core concepts, and even started to think about how we can apply their wisdom to our own lives.
But the world today, I mean, let's be honest, it can feel pretty chaotic. You know, information overload technology, the constant pressure to do more, be more.
I know.
How do we even begin to bridge the gap?
That's the
between these ancient teachings and the realities of our modern world.
You're right. It can be challenging to find that stillness and connection amidst all the noise and distractions. But remember, the Upanishads aren't about rigid rules or escaping the world.
They're more like a framework for understanding reality and our place within it.
So it's less about chanting mantras in a cave and more about integrating these principles into our everyday lives, even amidst the hustle and bustle.
Absolutely. Let's start with the idea of interconnectedness. This concept that we're all part of a vast, interconnected web of existence. I mean, think about it. Our actions ripple out far beyond ourselves, affecting others, the environment, even future generations.
It's like that saying, we're all connected like the branches of a tree.
Right.
But sometimes it feels like we're living in a world that's all about me, myself, and I, right?
Absolutely. Our culture often prioritizes individualism and competition
Right.
over cooperation and shared responsibility.
Yeah.
But the Upanishads remind us that our choices have consequences that extend far beyond our immediate sphere.
It's like the butterfly effect.
Yeah.
One small action can set off a chain of events that have a huge impact. Exactly. Recognizing this interconnectedness can help us live more responsibly, more compassionately.
Yeah.
It encourages us to look beyond our own immediate needs and consider the well-being of the whole.
So instead of asking what's in it for me, we start asking, how can I contribute to the greater good?
Right.
That's a pretty powerful shift in perspective.
It is, and it doesn't mean you have to become a saint or renounce all material possessions. It's about bringing that awareness of interconnectedness into everything you do.
Right.
Your work, your relationships, your daily choices.
So even small actions like choosing to buy fair trade coffee or volunteering in your community can have a ripple effect.
Absolutely. And that brings us to karma.
Yeah.
Remember, it's not about some divine scorekeeper tallying up our good and bad deeds.
Right.
It's more about understanding that our actions have consequences, and those consequences shape our experiences.
Okay, so it's like a cosmic boomerang.
Uh-huh.
What we put out into the world eventually comes back to us.
In a sense, yes, but it's not about fearing retribution. It's about recognizing the power we have to create positive change through our choices.
Right.
It's about taking responsibility for our actions and their impact on the world around us.
So it's not about being paralyzed by fear of making mistakes, but about learning from them and using those experiences to grow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And remember, the Upanishads tell us that this principle of karma applies not just to our physical actions, but also to our thoughts and intentions.
Wow.
Our inner world shapes our outer world.
So if we want to create a more peaceful and harmonious world, we need to cultivate those qualities within ourselves first.
That's one of the most profound insights the Upanishads offer. And it's incredibly relevant today when so much conflict and suffering stem from fear, anger, and greed.
So the Upanishads aren't just offering a path to personal liberation.
Right.
They're offering a vision for a more just and compassionate world.
Exactly. And this path starts with recognizing the true nature of the self. That Atman within each of us. Remember, the Upanishads teach that Atman isn't separate from Brahman, the ultimate reality.
It's like that beautiful image of a drop of water merging back into the ocean.
Yeah.
We're all part of something much bigger than ourselves.
That's a beautiful way to put it. And realizing this unity isn't just an intellectual exercise. It's an experience that can transform our lives.
It's like waking up from a dream and realizing that we've never been truly separate.
Right.
That sense of interconnectedness.
Yeah.
It can be incredibly liberating, can't it?
Absolutely. It frees us from the limitations of the ego.
Yeah.
From the fear and isolation that often come with a sense of separation.
Right.
We start to see ourselves and the world with new eyes, with a deeper understanding and compassion.
It's like that feeling you get when you're surrounded by nature.
Yeah.
Or when you connect with someone on a soul level and you feel a sense of belonging, of oneness.
Exactly. And the Upanishads suggest that this isn't just a fleeting feeling, but our true nature, the reality that's always there beneath the surface of things.
So the Upanishads aren't just offering us ancient wisdom.
Right.
They're offering a path to a more fulfilling and meaningful life, both for ourselves and the world around us.
That's the beauty of these texts.
Right.
They speak to something timeless, something that resonates across cultures and centuries.
It's like they're giving us a glimpse into the nature of reality itself. A reality that's more interconnected, more harmonious, and ultimately more joyful than we might imagine.
And that's a message worth reflecting on.
Right.
A message that can guide us as we navigate the complexities of modern life.
We've come full circle in our deep dive into the Upanishads. We've explored their core concepts, delved into their practical implications, and discovered how these ancient teachings can still illuminate our modern world.
It's been quite a journey.
Yeah, it has. And I hope that this journey has sparked your curiosity.
Oh, I hope so.
Inspired you to learn more, and maybe even ignited that spark of the divine within you.
That'd be great.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.
It was fun.
We'll leave you with one final thought from the Upanishads.
Okay.
The self is never born, nor does it die. It is unborn, eternal, ancient, and everlasting. It is not slain when the body is slain, May this wisdom guide you on your journey.